Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Sophia Kogadai. I'm the occupational therapy student doing my capstone project with first generation college students and their mental health. So this is week 6 out of 7 workshops for working on the dimensions of wellness. So thank you so much for joining me. Today we're going to be discussing the environmental wellness dimension. So hope you learned something. Okay, so our objectives for today are defining environmental wellness. We're going to be discussing how environmental wellness affects first generation college students and exploring how the on-campus environment shapes a students' experience, as well as discussing some of the on-campus supports that are available on the UOP campus and exploring how natural and physical environments impact mental health. And lastly, we're going to be finishing off learning some strategies for assessing and creating supportive and low stress spaces and habits. Okay, so what is environmental wellness? Environmental wellness is feeling safe, comfortable, and supported in your surroundings. It's creating spaces that promote focus, calm, and creativity, as well as respecting and caring for your personal, shared, and natural environments. So it's also your space in nature, your relationship with nature, and even like recycling and using resources and things like that as well, just your natural world. And lastly, minimizing overstimulation or clutter when possible. So we'll be going over this a little bit, but essentially, if you have a cluttered space, you may have a cluttered mind, right? So this is generally environmental wellness. Okay, so we're going to be talking about how environmental wellness affects first generation college students. So first off, we've discussed this in previous workshops that many first gen students come from collectivist communities. So these communities, you are working together, you're working for each other, everyone is helping one another, you're thinking of the family and you're thinking of the community as a whole. But a lot of times, the college campus has a more individualistic orientation. And so many of the students are thinking about themselves and how to help themselves, etc. So when first gen students come into these spaces, again, you may feel like you don't have a sense of belonging because everyone is kind of looking out for themselves at first. So that can be really challenging for a lot of students. Um, the promotion of identity affirming spaces. So this can also be really hard if you're going to a campus where you can't relate to other students and no one necessarily comes from your cultural background or looks like you or talks like you, has the same language. So that can be really hard in terms of connecting with other people. And having an increased access and utilization of the campus support services is going to be really important for students in order to feel like they have community and have an increase in community connections. Because again, if there aren't um, people that you can connect to on a cultural level, then it can be really isolating for sure. UP is really good with having a lot of these spaces available, and so I'm sure you've been to some of them or seen them, but we'll be going over that a little bit too. And lastly, living on campus versus living with your family. So this can definitely be different if you're living on campus versus your family because your environment's going to be different, it's going to look different, it's going to sound different, the responsibilities are going to be different. And that can be really challenging to navigate at first. Additionally, learning opportunities that are relevant to the lives of first-gen students are going to positively impact an individual's development because if you're coming onto a campus and you're learning about something that matters to you, about your culture and what you're interested in and your people, then that's really going to help with your development. And many first-gen students are coming to school so that they can in some way give back to their communities, give back to their families, and help them be in a better position and etc. So learning what you're learning in your classes and just in your time during college is going to um, be really important for your environmental wellness. And then lastly, the underrepresentation and the absence of relevant learning opportunities on campus can lead to feelings of invalidation, isolation, and a decreased sense of belonging. So we've mentioned this a lot, just being underrepresented in staff, in faculty, in resources and students. Like all of that really takes a toll on an individual, and validating their experience, validating their feelings, validating what they've been through, what's important, values, all of that. So that in turn is going to again lead to a decrease in a sense of belonging. So it's a really important dimension that I don't think gets a lot of emphasis, but especially for first-gen students, it's a really good one. So we'll be talking about college campus environments. So in order for a student to feel like they have a sense of belonging on a campus, there's a number of things that they need to experience or feel in order to get that sense of belonging. So the first we're going to be discussing is access to people with whom they share common backgrounds and experiences. So we just went over that a little bit, just having people who you can relate to, people who share your culture or your language or your experiences, are going to really shape how you feel like you belong in this space. And learning about things that are relevant to your community. You want to go to classes and learn about maybe your history or things that are relevant to you and your culture, your family, your communities. So having access to that is going to be um, really helpful in then giving back to communities if that's what is important for the student. And that's helps with the feelings of isolation because then you're feeling, okay, my problems and my values are important enough to be taught in classes. So that's going to really in turn make a student feel like, okay, I belong on this campus and where I'm coming from really matters, which is so important, right? Um, and the campus values having a collective orientation is again, because we just talked about that, that's where a lot of first-gen students are coming from with their backgrounds, their cultures. It's a collectivist orientation. So if the college campus is now promoting that and promoting community and togetherness and helping each other, then that's going to really help students feel like they belong on the campus, and that's going to validate their backgrounds and their identities. Another thing I want to talk about with campus environments is there's a study that shows there's a correlation between a university environment and a student having a proactive personality and how that's going to affect their mental health. So a proactive personality is one that takes initiative essentially. So they're being proactive, they're taking initiative to get the things that they want to study uh, what they want to get opportunities, to seek services, to seek opportunities, to seek help when needed. So they're really taking the initiative. So the study showed that when students have that proactive personality and they come onto a college environment, then they're already in a better position to go do the things that they need for themselves to be successful, to be healthy. And that also means seeking behaviors for mental health services. And that's going to have effects on their environmental wellness as well, and the spaces that they're occupying and the people that they're around, etc. So it's an important one, proactive personality. And so on campus support, so I did talk about this a little bit last week. I did add to it a little bit, some new ones that I found, but there are so many supports that are on campus for all students. So again, CAPS, there's the first gen hubs and services, CIP, TRIO, and then CII has so many different spaces that we went over. last week. So there's APID, SWANA, Black Student Services, El Centro, LGBTQ plus Resource Center, the Native Americans, Lactation, and some new ones that I found were Pacific Women's Collective and the Brotherhood Exchange. So these are really good spaces. The Brotherhood Exchange program deals with many things, but men's mental health is one of them. So that's a really good space to go into if you are a man who needs help and support with that. And so you have all of these supports that are available to you, and this really hones in on your environmental wellness to occupy these spaces and to utilize them as much as you can when you need them or where you don't. Just meeting people in these spaces is going to be helpful in building your community and feeling like you belong on this campus, which you do. Um, yeah, so if you haven't already visited any of these spaces, I would really recommend it. I have just a few pictures of some of the spaces if you haven't been to them. This is the Black Student Services. I forgot to take a picture inside of it, but this is the door. You can see there's chairs and there's tables and there's books. There's there's a lot of different spaces. There's the El Centro space, again, tables, chairs, a TV. These are just really good spaces to go to just you can relax there, you can study there, you can talk to people there, you can hang out, you can eat there. It's just a safe space for you to be. And these are additionally the LGBTQ Resources Center, the Native American Student Services, and the Lactation Lounge. I didn't get a picture of inside of it, but this is the door. It's right next to the LGBTQ Resource Center. Yeah, again, just you see these spaces are very cozy. They're quiet. They're there for you. They're there for you to use. Additionally, this is the Career Center. That's also in McCraffy. Um, they can help you with anything career related. There's also this career closet that I just found out about. You can go in there and rent clothing. So if you have an interview coming up or an opportunity that you need to dress professionally for, this is a good space to visit so that you can rent out some of the clothes and look professional. So if you don't have that, it's here for you. So again, just you have a lot of supports on campus. This is across the bridge, but this is the Department of Public Safety as well as the Cowell Wellness Center. So this is where the CAPS department is. This flyer right here is what was outside of the door, so you can scan these QR codes if you want to um, make an appointment, or you can talk to the 24/7 nurse advice line if you're in a crisis. So I would recommend scanning some of these QR codes if you need help in anything mental health. It is I've heard from students that it's in a inconvenient spot because it is on the other side of the bridge, but I walked to it, it's not that far. It's gonna take 5 minutes to get there from like that main quad area from the McCraffy building. It's not that far. So yeah, these are there for your support. Okay, so then we're going to be talking about nature and outdoor spaces. So your time outdoors and in nature has shown in many, many studies to reduce anxiety, depression, as well as rumination. So, if you don't know, rumination is thinking about something kind of obsessively over and over again for a long period of time. So, there's a lot of studies that show that being outdoors and being in any outdoor space, this is a really good place to restore attention as well as support emotional regulation. So, if you go and take a walk in nature, you're outside, you're on the grass, you're in the trees, you're listening to the birds. This is really going to help reduce stress that you may be feeling, which is inevitable in college, as well as sensory overstimulation. And that can happen if you're in spaces that are very loud, very bright, um, that smell, whatever sense it may be. This can be a really good de-stressor for all of that. So you can even study outside because if you are feeling stressed out because of studying and you've been in the library all day, then it can be beneficial to take your books, take your laptop, and go sit on a blanket, on a bench, wherever, and just study outside. Um, there's also a lot of studies that I came across that showed that having a window view that includes natural elements are going to be associated with improved memory, attention, and impulse inhibition, as well as decreasing stress and subjective well-being. So if you are lucky enough to have a window that's facing nature, then um, that's a great place to go study. If you are in the library and you're trying to figure out where to study, I know there's big windows that are facing trees and grass and all that. That's a really good place to be because being able to being able to see natural elements is going to be very calming for your brain. So coming back to, studying, it's where you study and how you study is also going to affect how you're able to study. And then next, just exercising outdoors. We've talked about the physical wellness in the first workshop, but outdoor exercise is shown to be more restorative and stress reducing than indoor exercise. So if you are gonna go instead of running on the treadmill, you can go run in nature, go run outside. If you wanted to do Stairmaster, go on a hike instead, yeah, so if as much as possible, if you're able to exercise outdoors, they have a lot of outdoor exercise classes, or you can exercise with friends. There's just so many different ways that you're able to do fitness outdoors. So that's shown a lot of benefits. And then lastly, just taking breaks. We talk about breaks a lot in these workshops and taking care of yourself physically. If just taking a quick walk outside will do wonders. If you're in the library all day, you're stressing, take 5 minutes, go take a walk outside, feel the breeze, feel the sunshine, look at the trees, hear the birds. Um, and that's going to be a much more better break for you than scrolling on your phone for 5 minutes, So taking your breaks outside, I would highly recommend. And these are some of the outdoor spaces that I've seen on campus. So this is the bridge I was talking about. I don't know what it's called, but it was a beautiful bridge just over this water. You can look at the trees and the moss, and there's birds flying around. There's animals in the river. Um, being in this, and we have talked about in previous workshops that being around and interacting with water is something that can also help improve your mental health and decrease stress and decrease anxiety as well. So these spaces are here for you. Utilize them. It was beautiful. So next we're going to be talking about physical environments, and this could be like your physical space, like your room or your house, or just where you're spending your time. So your overall wellness can be impacted by your physical environment. So something I had mentioned earlier, if your physical environment is cluttered, then that in turn will clutter your brain as well, and everything may be um, more overwhelming and overstimulating if your space isn't clean. So, a clean, organized, and aesthetically pleasing environment can reduce stress and improve cognitive function. So, you've heard this before when you're studying to have a clean desk, to not have anything that's unnecessary, to just have your space clean and organized and only have the essentials on your desk while you're studying because when your space is overwhelming, your mind will be overwhelmed too. So really making sure to declutter and reduce noise in your spaces, as well as bringing in natural light, bringing in nature, so bringing in some plants. They could be fake ones if you're not good at keeping plants alive, or if you are, and you want to be a plant parent, then bringing in real plants into your space has so many benefits to your clarity, to your mind, to your mental health, to peace even. So it's really important to create environments that are going to support your well-being at every opportunity because when you are coming back to your living space, wherever that may be, whether it's a dorm room, apartment room, a house, back at home with family, wherever you're going to, having um, a place of peace and like an oasis of safety is really important. If you don't have that, just think about ways that you can create that for yourself, right? Um, and just another aspect that's not necessarily like your living area, but just being aware of health and safety in your environment. So wherever that may be, just thinking about anything that comes to safety, like even mold, think about like electricity, think about chemicals, think about fires, think about having like a emergency plan, anything that has to do with your safety in a physical environment is important to be aware of, be mindful of, and just plan for a disaster almost, right? And also, having images of nature have been shown to have restorative properties. So, there was a study that was done for students who were studying near a mural of something, and many of the students felt like they were able to study a lot better and they felt restored with scenes that had mundane late fall, so like nature scenes, mundane late fall it was one of them, as well as scenes that had water in them. So if you have the real thing, that's even better. But if not, having even a picture of something up on your wall, that can really help with just restoring, your mind, your body, your soul, your emotions, all that. Something to keep in mind. Okay, so we're going to be talking about designing a supportive environment. So we now know that it's important to have, but how do you do it? So first thing you're going to do is you're just going to imagine your ideal study or self-care space. So you're going to be thinking, just close your eyes, kind of meditate on it, like what does it look like? What does it feel like? What smell would it have? So this is something that you can design, you can write down, you can draw it out, you can color it, you can go on the computer and do it, whatever it may be, whatever works for you. But think about exactly what it is that works for you, what's important to you, what calms you down. Um, we've discussed some of these things in previous workshops of like um, what are your what different elements of senses calms you down. So think about like what can you look at that calms you down? What can you smell that calms you down? What can you hear that calms you down or makes you feel safe or comfortable, whatever it may be. And then just think about what's one small way that you can bring that energy into your current space because not everyone has their own spaces and not everyone can afford that or there's responsibilities or whatever it may be. But in the space that you do occupy right now, in the space that you do have, what's one little thing that you can do? If you're sharing a space with someone, what's something you can do in your part of the space. There's always little things that we can do, and something that we've learned is little things can add up to big things, right? So, um, something you can do is share these ideas with someone, with a partner or a friend, or you can journal it. We've discussed different ways of journaling, so if you don't want to write it, you can draw it, etc. So. Yeah, just something to think about. So just visualize a place that you feel safe, somewhere that you can distress, and somewhere that you can relax. After a long day of all of your hard work, all of your studying, working, socializing, everything, coming back to a space where you feel safe and somewhere that you can just unwind and relax is very, very important for your mental health. It's really important for your overall well-being. It's important for your relationships. It's important for your ability to study, to work, to function even. So it is very important. I would put high emphasis on this part for sure. So some things that you can do, and these are just some examples that I had, but you can, decorate your space with some of your favorite colors. Like I really like green. Everything I have is green. Adding ambiance lighting, so twinkle lights can really help. Instead of using an overhead light, you can use a twinkle light using little lamps, things like that. We mentioned this before, but adding various plants, putting cozy pillows and blankets, like if you need comfort in that way, that's really easy to do. Hanging pictures or artwork, if it's something nature related, that would be great. Or just whatever makes you feel happy and calm and safe and all that. So um, yeah, whatever works for you. And that's the beauty of it that you can do. And I know this is not always plausible if you're living with other people, but even doing one little thing can help you make it feel like a good and safe environment for you. And the last two things is just calming sound machines if that's something that you feel like would help, and just think about furniture that you have. And all of these things are really easy to administer, really. It's just, you can get some of these things for really cheap. Like nothing has to be expensive or super fancy or anything. You can go to the dollar store, you can go to Five Below, you can go on Facebook Market. So a lot of these are relatively inexpensive, or can be. So yeah, it is manageable. So I hope something you can take away from this is being able to just create your environment to what you want and need it to be. And so the last thing that we're going to do is just a reflection. These are some assessments that I have available to you, and I'll post this on the Trio modules as well, so you can print it out or work on it on your own. But this is just an environmental wellness assessment. So you can see here, there's questions that you can rate from 1 to 5. So it says number one, or 1 is strongly agree and 10 is strongly disagree. So the first question here is, I sleep in a space that has little distraction and supports good sleep hygiene. We've discussed sleep hygiene before. So then you can rate it to see like what it is. And then second one, I have an organization system that keeps my living space organized. I have an organization system that keeps my workspace organized. The colors on my space are satisfying and bring me happiness. Um, it's just you can go through each of the questions, all 10 of them, and then tally them up at the end. And you can really just see um, how like where you're at in your environmental wellness levels, and make changes with that information. And then here, this is something that you can go over again. I'll post this one as well, but just some reflections of considering your environments. So you're going to answer the questions below to reflect on your environment and how you can improve it and how it can affect you. So this has your built environment as well as your natural environment. So for the built environment, it has questions like if you could do one thing to improve your human-made surroundings in a way that would support your wellness, what would it be? Things like that. And then for your natural environment, write about something you love to do outdoors and ways you could do it more. So it's just little reflection questions to gauge, to really think about, because I think many people don't actually think about their environmental wellness, or just that your environment can impact your wellness as much as it does. So it's just, little questions to um, assess where you're at and what's important to you and what you like, and then you can figure out what you can do in order to improve it. So I'll post this. I hope you fill this out. And you know me, I love my journal prompts. Do what you will with these in whatever way, but this is just I believe it's 8 journal prompt questions just to learn more about yourself and your environments and what you like and all that. So they're very similar to what we've discussed today and some of the previous questions. But one of them is, describe a time when nature soothed you. What did you hear? What did you smell, feel? What was your mood like? Because of this connection with nature, it's like they even have like your living space. They have the perfect day in nature, they have your favorite spot at home, your bedroom, things that you can do that don't involve technology, favorite sentimental objects, cleaning. So this does hit many of the topics that we've discussed today. So yeah, if you have time, I would definitely recommend um, at least going through a couple of these and really reflecting on what it means. And you can learn more about yourself and just what you need and how you can help yourself, pretty much. But yes, that was it. The last things I will leave you with is um, your space deserves care and respect. This again, I don't think that this is something that many people put a lot of thought into, but it does affect you and it impacts your mental health and impacts your ability to be a student, to be functional. So put some effort into it. It's going to really help. And again, small shifts can reduce stress and improve your focus. So over here, everything that I hope I've talked about is have been small things that you can do. So nothing big has to happen. We're looking for small, realistic steps that you can take in order to help yourself in each of these dimensions, not just this one, but small things are really going to help. And just remember that you have the rights to comfort, stability, even as a student. I think there's a common sentiment that, students, because you're a student, you don't need the best living situation, or you're very unstable and chaotic and all that, but you deserve comfort and you deserve stability even during this time of your life. And lastly, just take advantage of the on-campus spaces and communities. They are there to support you, they will help you, they will benefit you in so many ways. And just remember that these are here for you now. And you've technically already paid for everything in your tuition, so you might as well utilize them because once you graduate, these things are harder to come by and they're harder to access. So, and they may be more expensive. So utilize them while you can. It can really help, and do something this week that will help you with your environmental wellness. But yes, thank you so much. I appreciate everyone tuning in. And next week we will be talking about occupational wellness, and that's going to be our last workshop for the series. So bittersweet, but I hope I see everybody there. Okay, thank you. Bye.